8:25, and joining us in studio this morning from the Roswell Refuge, we have Leslie Carrera back with us and Valerie Ward as well. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
In unison. Love it.
Yeah.
They even delayed in unison. That was neat. There was like a second pause and they both did it. That's impressive. That's next level in unison. How are you guys doing this morning?
Doing well.
Good. For folks that aren't familiar, the Roswell Refuge, a great organization. They help victims of domestic violence here in Chavez County, and that's what they do. They have the home that is a place for victims if they choose to break away from their domestic violence situations. They can come and live there until they get back on their feet, and so they really work with these victims. On top of that, also work with the offenders and try to break the cycle that way. And they partner with the SANE program, which they deal with victims of sexual assault. So that's part of the umbrella of the refuge as well, too. So if someone's been sexually assaulted or raped, these individuals go in and help the victim medically as much as possible. And if the victim wants to pursue legal, collecting evidence and helping them navigate through it, but they do it all in a way to help the victim as much as possible deal with that traumatic situation. So it's tough business, but what goes on at the refuge is invaluable to the people in our community here. So, but they have some fun doing it. Now, I mean, we'll be talking, it's a lot of this, but they have fun doing it. They turn that home into a family environment and try to make it as much as a place of welcoming and a place of safe and a place of home as much as possible. They want to make it a home. That's why we call the refuge home a home, because that's what they want to make it. And so the people that come here live there sometimes. What's the average? About a month, 6 months? What's about 3 months on average is generally the average person's time there, and they get to get back on their feet and get established again. If there's legal issues, you guys kind of help them navigate through that. If it's, finding them a job, finding them a place to live, finding them clothing and things like that's what the refuge does. So.
Yep. And we are blessed and happy that we can do it.
Well, and here's the thing. And when she says blessed, we're blessed because we have a great community, and the refuge could not do what it does. I got a feeling the doors would have closed years ago if it weren't for the generosity of the public. People constantly coming, volunteering to do work at the home, donating of money, of food, of clothing, of furniture, of toiletries, of just the basics of what people need to survive and live in this world. And without those generous things, you guys couldn't do it. I mean, you guys get some help, grants and through various entities and things, but that kind of covers programs, and that kind of covers, some of the things you need to do, but it doesn't cover the heart side of things per se. And
right.
Is that pretty fair assessment, I guess, of that? It
is. And unfortunately, just like every other business out there today, and federally funded, state funded programs have lost money. There's cuts been. We've lost several grants over the last few years that we used to have available to us that aren't anymore. So
the well's drying up a little bit on some of those.
Years have been a bit of a struggle. It's definitely the community helps us a lot, but we understand too that everybody's pockets were hit hard.
Yeah.
So the contributions that used to come in 5, 6, 10 years ago
aren't as prevalent.
Certainly don't come in like they used to, because everybody feels the hit.
Absolutely. Yeah. When COVID is hurt a lot of things, and we're still dealing with some of the ancillary results of that, and unfortunately, that's one of them. Is the people that were stalwarts, they can't give as much now because, well,
they don't have it.
Exactly. You can only give what you have.
That's right.
And so. So I almost think the smaller gestures are much more important nowadays. When someone comes by and says, and this is great. We have restaurants that be like, hey, we got extra food from the night. Can your home use this? And next thing you know, that's the kind of stuff that's saving lives, believe it or not. I know it seems kind of small and trivial. It's like, oh, you just brought a meal by, but that's the mindset changing from people thinking there's no hope to, you know what, people do care, and there is hope, and there is, you know.
Having hope in humanity is
Yeah.
it's a healing.
I mean, you see this, Valerie, all the time. That's probably your biggest breakthrough is when people are being generous, and it kind of peels away the armor for some of your victims that are calling it home right now, and allowing them to maybe get back on a path of feeling like a normal human being again.
Make them a little more comfortable so they actually have the time to process what they're going through. And
Yeah, and I know, Leslie, we've said this 100 times on here because it's just natural when you're a victim of domestic violence or a victim or, you know, of any of that kind of thing, whether even if it's an addict in some same semblance, it's the same kind of shared defense mechanisms there. You build walls. You try to, you know, if I'm getting abuse and stuff, I've got to protect me. And so part of that building the wall is lack of trust, lack of putting yourself out there, being very introverted and just don't make a wave, therefore I can't get hit. You know what I mean? Is that what I'm saying here? And so they don't trust anybody. They think they have a mindset of people are bad. People are not good. And you've got to change that mindset. So when somebody shows up at the home and says, "We brought you lasagna." Oh, here's a bunch of toys for the kids for birthday parties or whatever. Oh, here, you know what? You guys need towels. You guys, here's family size bottles. Here's a 20-pack of shampoo. Here, you know, that's the kind of stuff they're like. What do you mean people just give that because they want to? And it really does. Why would they do that? And I know you've talked about it, Leslie, several times where people like, they get this stuff and they break down crying because they don't understand why they do it. And then when they realize it's just because they're nice, they're like, oh my goodness, maybe they're, you know, that's a real thing. And people, and that's part of the treatment for you guys. And so when you guys help out, yeah, the physical stuff is great and it's very and much needed. But it's almost that mindset of you being a human being to these people breaks down the walls and is more for their healing and recovery than sometimes that tube of toothpaste you donate.
It is.
You know?
And in the staff, you know, Valerie, the staff, we actually have quite a few new staff members that have joined us over the last year, I would say, and really worked hard to refresh the shelter, kind of get it back on track. COVID did hit us hard.
Sure.
We weren't able to take clients in that we wanted, you know, we had to turn away or clients themselves weren't wanting to come into congregate
Sure, they didn't feel
settings.
safe because of COVID. Absolutely, yeah.
And so really they've worked so hard. They're just such an incredible team over there that, you know, we've all been working so hard to really make some positive changes, get on a track we need to be on, focusing back on really helping our victims with that, get into that mindset of we are here to help you. We're going to get you through this. We're going to give you some tools and really help you get on your feet so you don't have to go back into that cycle of violence.
And
again.
that's why the Roswell Refuge is amazing. And this is why I want people to help as much as possible, because regardless of the world we live in, regardless of the situations we're in, you guys are all about bringing happiness and healing to these people. And it doesn't matter how bad times are. It doesn't matter if there's no money. It doesn't matter if none of that's happening. You and your staff are going to go and do whatever they can to help them. If there's no food to be had, then we're going to figure something out. We're going to do it. If there's no money coming in, we'll start patching holes in this to fix it, to get to buy until we can. That's the mindset that's going on there, and that's love. It's all a labor of love, and at the end of the day, if that's there's not COVID. There's nothing on the planet that's going to stop that, in my opinion. I mean, if you've got people that are that committed and are going to make sure that they give an opportunity to everyone that wants it in there, yes, you can dry up on the toilet paper and all that. That one doesn't come in. We'll figure it out.
Right.
We don't want to have that problem, but we'll find a way. But so make it easier on these folks. Just if you can, make a donation. If it's monetary, awesome. If you're thinking, you know what, I've got a bunch of bedding that is sitting in a linen closet, because if you're like my wife and you buy a new bed set every 6 months and you've only had one bed, you know what I mean?
Right.
You tend to build up on those.
And I think
donate some of that.
I think Valerie had a few things that I know that we're in need of right now that we started kind of running low on?
A few things that we can always use are bath towels, pajamas of all sizes for children and adults.
Okay.
And just the basic comforts, like the blanket
Sure.
sets. The sheet sets are,
Yeah.
of course, always appreciated.
Yeah. The things you like, they like too.
Right.
You're like, well, that feels soft. Guess what? They're gonna like that
Bath
too.
mats would be fabulous.
A godsend.
We have, just
Get those good
just
ones
that
with
little
the little
comfort of
with the little
home when
pushy,
you get out.
The plushy give. I love those. Like I got one in my bathroom, and every time I get out of the shower or
Right.
whatever, I'm like, why can't they make like shoes and everything out of this stuff?
Exactly. Those are
Let's
great.
make like all of life out of this stuff. But
And canned goods are always welcome
Gotcha.
too. Pretty much
All donations are
All donations.
always
Absolutely.
appreciated.
those are
and
the kinds of things that people take with them when they leave, though, like towels.
pajamas,
Those kinds of
toiletries,
things are things we need
bedding.
replenishing.
Sometimes when they arrive, they have nothing but the clothes on their back.
Yeah,
And
sometimes a
if-
child
most
in
of
You
the
tow.
know,
time,
if we can get them a
unfortunately.
comfortable set of PJs, a pair of slippers at least for the night, so they can get a decent
Mm-hmm.
night's sleep, and then we also have the thrift store, which
Yeah,
helps
and that's
them as well.
And that's another way folks can help out here. If you've got items that are perfectly great, donate them to the thrift store, because the thrift store that works in many different ways. It works because it's a place. If some of the residents of the home, when they go out on their own, if they need things to get started, coffee pots and bedding, whatever it is, the stuff to live life, they get to shop spree through there and say, use this to get your new place up and going here. And so there's that. But then there's stuff that they don't need and things, so they sell that, and the public comes in, buys it pennies on the dollar, and all of that money goes back into the programs and needs of the refuge. And they can use that money, and that's money that's not really earmarked for something specific, so it's kind of a catch-all. Because a lot of times, for folks that don't know, when they do get grant monies and things, like any time free money comes, there's always strings. There's a big string. Some have more strings than others, but so it kind of limits on what they can do without that specific
Right.
money. And if it's like, well, great, we got this money, it's for a program, but I need money to buy groceries.
We're very, very regulated by what we can and can't spend our money on
Sure.
through our grants.
And so by utilizing the thrift store, donating, shopping, all of that, you're actually helping support them financially in a way that gives them the freedom to, if there is an issue, emergency, or just a program we want to create that other funding doesn't a lot for, we can do it with this money here.
Our thrift store we've been on a hold as far as taking donations since COVID,
Okay.
clothing donations.
Okay.
And I believe that we will be accepting all donations again come May 15th.
Okay, so coming here in a few weeks.
So,
We'll be looking.
couple weeks.
Call ahead if you're thinking and you're listening. Say, I've got some stuff here before. Call ahead. Is Kay on the case?
Kay's on the case.
Kay's on the case.
And if you have any larger items that you'd like to donate us, please just call us ahead, because we don't have a ton of space to store things, but we've actually worked on it. We do have a storage unit now that we're able to use, and hopefully we're looking, maybe somebody would donate us a storage unit maybe for a year as well.
Hint, hint. Anybody out there want to help out? That's a
Another
great way to do
storage
it.
unit.
Yeah.
So that we are able to take some larger items. We get a lot of calls for it, which would be great to have at our disposal when people are moving out. That
Okay.
we'd be able to set them up with the basics that they would need, as far as a table and a couch and a bed, beds are always needed if they are very good condition or new. I mean, of course.
Well, mattresses are one of those things. They're
Right.
kind of like clothing sometimes.
just kinda
they have a
can't-
shelf life. And
Yes, and the clothing, we appreciate all the donations everybody brings us, but please do remember that the clothing does need to be in pretty good condition. Otherwise,
when
we're not able to. We certainly wouldn't want to give our clients something, or have available to our clients something you wouldn't wear yourself.
Sure. And this is something that, and really all nonprofits that do collect items like
Right.
this deal with this. And we do appreciate people donating clothing and things like that. But sometimes folks go through and just start clearing out sections of clothing, and you're like, look, there's some shirts and things in there that shelf life is done.
Yes, you wouldn't believe some of the things that we
That's
find.
holy. That's holy, and not in a religious way. All right, you know what I mean? And so So, but and unfortunately, it actually by you not being more selective about what you put in the bags to donate, you're actually costing the nonprofit more money because now they got to pay fees to get rid of that stuff to the dump or whatever it is. So even though your heart's in the right place, you're actually doing more harm than good by doing that. So please, when you do donate clothing and stuff, if it's something you wouldn't still wear, even if, put it this way. I know there's a lot of clothing you're like, I'd love to wear, but that stuff shrunk on me. If it's like that, then great. But if it's something you've been wearing for 20 years and it looks like you've been wearing for 20 years, maybe it's time to retire that one instead of donating.
Yes.
Or put it in your, that's my Sunday pants or whatever it is you.
But 90% of the time, I mean, for the most part, people are very generous with what they give us, and they're aware of that.
Yeah.
So
we just want to throw that reminder out there.
Yeah.
But really, and all of this stuff is used right away. That's the thing with the Refuge, because like Valerie was saying earlier, literally they come in with the clothes on their back, sometimes a kid in tow with the clothes on his or her back, and then that's it. And so you guys have to, all right, well, let's get you a bed, let's get you a change of clothes, let's get you some toiletries, let's get you the comforts we need to,
and a safe place
to take care of it, and a safe place to get some sleep and get rested. And then once you're secure, safe, cleaned up, happy, and healthy, then we'll start the process of healing.
Right.
Yep. And that's what's going on. So by you donating the shampoos and the towels and the sheets and the pajamas and don't forget toys too. I know we're kind of in not like Christmas, and we're not really in that season yet.
It'll be here before we know it.
But they do birthday parties and Christmas celebrations and Easter and 4th of July will be coming up. They'll have some kind of celebration in the home for all that. And so if you'd like to donate new toys for kids.
Yeah.
We actually have started a new little program. When someone does come in with a child, we make sure they get a toy immediately, a stuffed animal, so they have just a little creature comfort.
Well, it's kind of like a calling card for a kid. The kid comes in there like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. Here's a toy. Oh, this place is cool. They're giving me toys.
And it's really, it's really difficult for a lot of, for all the children, I'm sure, that come into the shelter depending on their age, because many of them are school-age kids.
Sure.
And, that has now become their reality.
Sure. And they know. They know what's going on in some of those age. You know what I mean? They may not know all the details, but they hear the arguments. They hear what's going on, and they have a semblance of what's going on.
Video games are great donations for the a little bit older kids.
So not just toddler toys. Let's get some toys at 12, 13-year-olds that they appreciate as well. Boys and
we
girls.
take, all ages, all ages.
Well, a kid's a kid. And if a domestic violence situation happens and they have a child that's 17, guess what? The child's still a child at 17.
Trauma.
Exactly. It's not. And to be honest, I'm guessing when they're at that age, I imagine there's probably 2 victims in that room at that point. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about here. And so, folks, for you, the public, the best thing you can do is 2 things here. One is donate if you can. If you can, whatever it is, if it's a couple of dollars, or maybe, hey, every time you go to the grocery store, grabbing 3 or 4 more cans of food and to donate to the Refuge, whatever it is, any little bit helps. But the other thing we also want to put out there is be vigilant when you see domestic violence things happening. If you're in a store and you see arguing or something, you just when you see it, it's like you get a feeling like that don't seem right. Don't play that's none of my business anymore. Yeah. I'm not saying you need to jump in and break it up. Don't do that, because that could hurt yourself.
Make an anonymous call.
But report it. Talk to a store manager. Talk to a law enforcement. Let someone go and investigate that situation. And if there's nothing going on, they're going to determine that. But
and
if
it's
there is,
and it can always be anonymous, like Val just said.
Yeah.
You never have to put your name out there, but you could save a life. I think one of our favorite ads and billboards we've had was, which we were still using, is domestic violence should never be a private matter, or is never a private matter, and we all have to make it our
absolutely. And I understand.
It all of our
we live in a country, live in a world where people like mind your own business, and I'm all for that for the most part, because that's a good. But when something isn't right, that's when you need to stand up. That's what decent human beings do. And let's face it, I know, and like Valerie's saying, don't get involved directly, but call anonymously, report it to somebody. Doing nothing is the worst thing you can do. Even if you don't feel comfortable per se saying or fine, just go say, look, do you mind taking a look? Something don't seem right. They've been arguing back and forth. I don't know if it's going to escalate. I don't know what it is, but can someone find out what's going on? And that's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And that's you're doing your part there. And if it's something longer, maybe it's other family members, and you're domestic violence lurks in the shadows. The only way it goes away is when you put light on it. And so if there's maybe family stuff, maybe I got a cousin, whatever it is, if there's weird stuff, don't just sit idly by and say, that's not my business. Do something. I'm not saying, if nothing else, reach out to that person, say there's help. Please call these numbers.
Yeah, just
give them
out.
options, at least, if nothing else.
And in our, we don't speak a lot about our offender program. Lauren comes on and we do, but I would like to just remind everybody that our offender program, for the most part, people come because the courts, make them come, order them to come. However, it is available to the public at a free of no cost at all. And if you're feeling maybe that you recognize that you're starting to experience worse behavior, or, you're feeling more aggressive or getting more angry, our program can really benefit anybody who might be able to utilize it. And we do offer, like I said, the most part, when it's court ordered, it's 52 weeks, once a week. But we do have a 26-week, or Lauren could certainly work with anybody who just feels they need to come and maybe take some classes and get some tools and learn some skills to cope with anger.
Absolutely.
And it's really escalated a little bit. We've seen a rise in the cases and clients that have come back into shelter. And
the world we live in is a more toxic,
everybody is just
tension-laden world,
a lot more tension,
and that's spilling into homes and things too. And so, but you're right. It's never a wrong decision to do things to better yourself. So, and the offender program is amazing. And here's the part I want people to understand. This is where you as a human need to stop judging, because those people in the offender program, it's a cycle. Odds are people that are abusers, the stats are there. They were probably abused as when they were younger themselves too.
Or witness.
I'm not defending abuse per se, but what I'm saying is, if that's all you know, and then no one's taught you different, you just need to be taught different.
It's certainly a cycle.
And there are tools available.
Yeah.
So you can
and
live
that's why
peaceful
this offender program can help with them and say, you know what you were taught is wrong. This is why, and this is, and so these individuals can go, and especially ones that do it on their own, that said, you know what, so maybe if you're a victim yourself, maybe you need to check out this. Even if you haven't done anything, I hate to tell you, the recipe's there.
Right.
It's just, it is. It's kind of like if you have a family of alcoholics that have dependency issues, you're probably more likely to fall in that category. You're going to need to be a little more vigilant on it. Right. Same thing with someone, a victim of domestic abuse. You've been in the system. You've been dealing with this your whole life. It's easy for you to fall in that same trap of being, now that you're an adult, now that you're not answering to someone, it's just as easier for you to become the tyrant at that point. You're like, it's my world. I'm finally broke free. You're going to do it my way or the highway. And that's, I'm thinking that's the rationale that goes on.
A lot of offenders that we see come through our program, especially the ones that aren't necessarily physical. There hasn't been physical abuse, but the abuse is still there many other ways, as we know.
Sure, emotional or
but
verbal.
Those will be a lot of the clients that will recognize, will see that won't even, once they start the program a couple weeks in, they'll be like, I didn't even know what I was doing was abuse. I didn't even know this was a thing.
It didn't seem toxic to them until... Yeah.
Why am I here? I shouldn't even be here. I've never hit her. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. And then, a couple weeks in, and once you start learning about the cycle of abuse and all the different things that really do fall under abusive behavior, the light kind of comes on, and they're like I said, I didn't even know that was a thing. My grandparents acted that way. My parents acted that way, and then they're able to get the tools to turn that cycle around and really learn how to kind of come out of that.
It's called growth. It's evolving. That's what, and to be honest.
And it's a great program.
To be honest, when that person was a victim through it, they may not have looked at that as, you know what I mean? Like, because.
That was their norm.
Sure. Right. You know, but even society, you know, just 40 years ago, you know, it's kind of, you know, it's like I will draw suicide as a comparison here. You know, 30 years ago, someone committed suicide, you looked at them like they committed a crime against people. You know what I mean? Like it was looked at like, oh, that's never the answer. You know, you almost blame them for doing it. Now we obviously see it's way different. We look and it's like, no. This is not no. You know what I mean?
Issue.
And I think domestic violence is the same thing. The causes and why we do what we do and all that. It's all the same story to me as suicide and all. It's the same.
And we just have such little mental health care, you know, available, and unfortunately, kind of due to where we live and what's available out there, I know the people that are our mental health agents here work diligently and very hard, and they're so overwhelmed that they can't help everybody, unfortunately. But it's an awareness that all these issues fall back into a mental health category, and we need programs out there that can help, and many more programs than we have.
I got to be honest, and I've just a little time. I've said it on this radio show, we need to Susan G. Komen mental health is what we need to do. We need to do you know, what they've done for breast cancer research with the Susan G. Komen and raising awareness, and now everyone's synonymous with pink in October, and it's just, we need to do the same thing with mental health.
Right.
We need to.
I'll take some.
Yeah, we need to.
We do definitely
do walks, do things, just all of this, and raise bazillions of dollars for the mental health industry so we can play catch up with the rest of the medical world in mental health, because that's our problem. We've treated mental health like a stigma for so much of humanity,
and it all falls under mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, all the different things and ailments that people have basically come down back to mental health. And
to quote Matt Damon in The Martian, we need to science the feces out of mental health now.
That's a good one. I like the movie too. I do.
Make that happen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And another thing, really quick, just touching on restraining orders. We've had a lot of big increase in people coming in asking for restraining orders lately. And once again, I have to go back because we hate to act like we're not helping when somebody comes in asking for a restraining order. But the criteria for temporary restraining orders in Chavez County are very, very strict. And it is 100% domestic violence related.
Okay.
It has to be intimate partner, immediate family.
Okay.
Some type of a familial relationship or intimate partner relationship.
Or it doesn't qualify.
Or it does not qualify. And I know people are being told when they go to the police station, not that it's their fault either, or go other places.
There's a lot of miscommunication
go down and get a restraining order because your neighbor won't stop throwing rocks at your house.
And that be a lack of education where people don't know that.
It just isn't going to happen. And it ties up our time. It ties up, the courts aren't even going to hear it. So, you know, I know it's a difficult thing to wrap your head around when somebody's attacking you or somebody's threatening you, and that you can't get a restraining order, and that we're not going to be able to assist you in that. But as of right now, we can't. I mean, there's just not civil restraining orders in Chavez that I know of. If I'm speaking wrong, somebody call me and let me know. But
and it's a slippery slope.
As far as I know, there
too.
isn't. We strictly only assist with domestic violence related restraining orders, and that has to be one of those categories.
So if it's anything other than that, then the Refuge cannot help you, unfortunately. However, if it is domestic violence, if it's a family member, I kept trying to combine words. A member of the family. I was trying to get all the time.
Anybody that you've had a relationship with.
Then you qualify, and please come on down.
And living in your home too. If you live in the same home, that can qualify as well.
Okay. I'm assuming someone has to move out once you get a restraining order for someone living in your home, right?
That's a really, really big issue.
I don't know. I'm just thinking how it's kind of hard to keep distance from someone that you're living in a home with. Or you stay in the bathroom, you stay in the.
Really,
how you gonna work that out?
If both people have equal rights to that living space, it basically is going to be up to the judge pretty much to just say, but I can tell you a lot of people in domestic violence type situations, they won't leave the situation because they don't want to leave the home. And then the other person who's, doing the violence, the offender is the same. Well, I'm not going anywhere and I know you're not going anywhere. So it just sticks there and happens. Somebody does have to leave the house.
The power struggle continues. Yeah.
Whether the judge is going to order it to be one side or the other, if you're not safe, you need to leave your house.
And
it's
again,
a house.
And it's going back to that mental health, because people are like, well, why didn't the victim just leave? Well, that's wonderful, except for if that's their support system, that if they have no means to take care of themselves other than living in that house, then guess what? They're saying, well, I guess I'm going to deal with the abuse because it's either that or I'm out in the cold. And so they pick what in their brain is the lesser of two evils.
And
So-
a lot of people won't leave due to their animals. We will certainly work with anybody that has animals, whether we can take them in. We also have access to other organizations that help us with that.
Cool.
I know that
Care and Red Rover
Good deal.
will help us get.
So again,
Emmeline
it's about that support thing, and that's but that's what you guys do. What you can't do direct, you partner with and try to find solutions
many
for
other
the people
agencies,
that do.
right?
we do have to get creative
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's
And we'll reach if you have large animals. One time, I know we had a client that wanted to come in but had horses, and the victim was threatening to kill all the horses the minute she left. And so we worked with somebody that was able to go in and literally get the horses and take them out in the night. I mean, go get the horses, but that gave her the opportunity to come into shelter and
sure. And you all made that happen. And that's
so
that's why the refuge is awesome. When I said at the beginning, because no matter what the circumstances are, no matter how much
we'll
they
try
don't
our
have,
best.
they're going to do whatever they can to help a victim of domestic violence.
And with
that's what's
donations,
amazing.
I'd like to thank Los Pasitos, because they actually did a purse drive for us that they're coming today at 1:00
How
to
cool
bring
is
us purses that are filled with all kinds of useful items for us to share with our
that's so nice.
clients in
Yeah.
shelter. And I believe I was told they're bringing about 50 purses or something. So that's just amazing.
Awesome. Thank you to Los
Thank you
Pasitos.
very
Again,
much.
Very much.
while they're out doing their free stuff.
And I think Pizza Hut donates
young
to us
people in the community.
weekly, and everybody that does. If I forget to mention you, thank you so much, and it's
Absolutely.
always appreciated.
And we know why you do it. You do it not for the thank yous. You do it because you care about people, and we appreciate that. And we do thank you for that.
And we're participating right now in the Maze for Life, which is going on down at the college for all the 8th grade students, and so that's always a great thing. We're happy that it came back after COVID.
Nice. Yeah, it's nice to start
so-
seeing some things come back.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Fundraising will be coming back, and we'll hope to have our 70s dance. I'm going to shoot for October.
Bust
so-
out the bell bond. Don't put
yeah.
them away yet. Keep them handy.
Those
We're
bell
gonna need 'em.
bottoms out. We usually do it in April, but unfortunately we couldn't get it done for
Can't pull
April.
it off
So
for
I'd
spring,
like
so.
to maybe do it in
That's all right.
October if possible, but
70s fashions look better in the fall anyway.
they do. But we will be having some things coming up, so we'll definitely keep everybody posted on some smaller things. I think we're going to do an enchilada dinner soon, maybe a
Nice.
pancake breakfast soon.
Nice, good deal. We'll be on the lookout, and of course, as it all comes in, we'll be happy to let folks know. Two numbers want to give out real quick. One, if anybody has any questions, business related, donations, all of that, give the office number to the Roswell Refuge.
It's 575-624-3222.
And then if you are a victim of domestic violence, if you're suspecting domestic violence, there is a 24/7 hotline for you to call. Anonymous, and again, it's all based on you, based on how much you want to do. If you want to break out that day, they'll help you. If you just want an ear to bend for some time, they can do that too. Give out that number. And again, this is anonymous. The people that answer that aren't even here. They're somewhere else. It's all safe. It's a safe,
Very
secure
safe.
number for you to call.
And it's 575-627-8361.
Very good. Call that number if you have any
And that's our
questions.
shelter number as well. If you need to be, you need to get into shelter, that'd be the number you would call first
Gotcha.
as well, and be connected with one of our advocates that would, talk with you and see your situation. And if you're in need of shelter, definitely get you in as quickly as we can. And
It's your first step to recovery. And whether you want to just talk or you're ready to dive in fully, that number's there for you. So.
yeah.
Good deal. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
We'll see you next
Appreciate it.
time. And of course, if we need more time, if something happens in between then, you know, magically something happens, like, all right, we can start doing more stuff right now. Let's gangbusters out. We could love to have you back.
All right. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Anytime.
Have a good day.
You do the same. It is 9 o'clock.